Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today we have our third episode of our Mythbuster series where we try to do a little bit of science where we can in this game. Today, I have a topic that has been hotly contested within the community. It's the Iowa and its dispersion. Now, this whole topic came to my attention when fellow community contributor Spartan Elite put up this video talking about how the Iowa seems to have reduced dispersion when using the artillery plotting room mod, or just something is wrong. So I decided to go ahead and test that, and that's what we're going to be diving into in this video. But before we do that, little plug, we do have a giveaway going on. I'll go ahead and link the details down in the description box below, and I'll go ahead and put a little thing to the video describing the giveaway. Be sure to check that out. Now, let's go in and talk about the issue. So the idea is that, or the myth, is that when you apply the artillery plotting room mod to the Iowa, you are actually getting worse dispersion as opposed to better dispersion. Now, according to the game, it is supposed to give you a 15% buff to dispersion, tightening up the grouping of those shells. Well, how do we test that? Because, well, we don't have a training room. We don't have an empty harbor to be able to shoot at a stationary target in. So we're going to have to get a little creative. So what I decided to do was play 10 rounds of AI in both in the Iowa, with it equipped with both the plotting room mod and then the main battery mod 3, because I figured that's probably what you're going to be using if you weren't using anything else. As far as commanders go, I am using Optimus Prime. He has no dispersion buffing abilities. I do have the spotter plane equipped during these matches, but I've never used it. So that isn't going to be buffing dispersion. Basically, the only thing that could be influencing this dispersion would be the plotting room. So we play 10 matches with the plotting room, 10 matches without the plotting room. Once we have that, we go ahead and review the footage. We're going to fire the guns one at a time. That way we are not mixing up shells in the air as far as which gun they're coming from. So we fire one gun at a time, then freeze frame video when they are hitting the ship, or when they are splashing around the ship, basically using that ship as a marker and its range, recording it in a spreadsheet, then analyzing where the shells are, and basically moving and adjusting the frame based on our aim point on the ship and where the center of map is, because of course when you aim at a moving ship, you end up aiming ahead of it. But if you lined up all of the things in the order that you would expect them to be, where they landed, or if you line it up a dead center in screen, it's going to look like dispersion is all over the place. So the next step was actually to go frame by frame, get where those shells impacted, then adjust them according to their range. So what we ended up doing was, with the upcoming graphs, we took each range and did every 2 kilometers. So we have a graph for 4, 6, 8, and 12 kilometers. And you'll be able to see what we do there. And with those, we're taking all shells that land within that number. So if it's the 10 kilometer graph, it's 10, 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, all the way up to 10.9. And it's going to be all of those shells compared to all of those shells of the other room. This way we are controlling for the zoom. While we are adjusting these images, we are also making sure that the shells in the images are of the same size, which means that the zoom would be the same size. Basically, we are trying to control for every single possible variable that we could have. Additionally, if you don't believe me, or if you want to try this for yourself, I will be putting all of the footage and all of my images up, and also the spreadsheet where I record the timestamp of the hit, the match that they recorded in, and the range, so you guys can go ahead and take a look for yourself if you want to double check my work. I think of this as a scientific kind of thing. It's not the highest of science, but as someone once said, the only difference between science and screwing around is writing it down. So I wanted to make sure I wrote it all down, and you guys can go ahead and double check my work. Word of warning, I record in 4K, so if you have a slow internet speed, I would definitely recommend not getting, not exactly going in and downloading it all, but just a word of warning for you. Okay, so with all of that said, let us now go ahead and take a look at some of these graphs. So first one up is going to be that 4-kilometer range one. Red is going to indicate shots that have taken place with the plotting room. Yellow is going to indicate shots taken with the reload booster, with the main battery booster. So you have an idea. Let's go ahead and pop up those 4K plots first. And as we can see, the red dots of the plotting room are definitely closer and way more clustered together. So far it is looking like plotting room is working as expected. And if we want a better look at this, we can go ahead and look at the two graphs overlaid. As we can see right here, we definitely are seeing those red dots much more clustered together, with the yellow dots more being on the extremities, giving us the indication that at least with our current sample size, we are seeing the reduction in dispersion that is advertised. And this is a trend that we continue to see bear out across the 8-kilometer and 6-kilometer charts. I'll go ahead and throw those up now. As we can see, we are still seeing the red much more clustered to the center, as the yellow dots are around the outside. Once again, showing off that, yeah, it looks like plotting room is doing the job it's supposed to. The one interesting one, though, is at 10 kilometers, because once we hit the 10-kilometer mark, we do have a fairly interesting graph, because for once we have some red dots on the outside of the yellow. Now, what could this be? Well, this could just be RNG being RNG. When taking relatively small numbers in data sets, you are going to have outliers. In our case, total number of shots fired or times we pulled the trigger was around 180 for both scenarios, meaning that spread out across from 1 to 16 kilometers, we only have really 10 to 12 shots for each, meaning there is a likelihood that we are going to see outliers, and I think that's what we are seeing at this point. Mind you, the majority of the red is still well within the yellow dots, telling me once again that that plotting room is working as expected. I do believe we are seeing about a 15% decrease improvement in the dispersion, and hey, that's really cool. The game is working as expected. So that's the kind of evidence and video I wanted to make today, something that shows what is going on, some kind of hard evidence, some testing of the theories that the Iowa's dispersion has been messed with in a way, and it's the plotting room's fault that is doing it. As far as I can tell, and as far as the testing is showing, plotting room is working as expected, and you should definitely keep it equipped if you want a more accurate Iowa. I know it is one thing that I will certainly be doing from now on. Guys, I hope you like this video. Share it, please like it. This took a long time. This was a project that took about 3 full days of work because of all of the testing. So I'd really appreciate it if you showed some love. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, follow me on all my other social media platforms, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See ya.